I apologize for pronouncing your name wrong. It is Frechette. Right, that's correct, right?
Frechette.
Frechette. All right, there we go. Frechette. There we go. Because probably the way I was pronouncing it is probably the way I think most Canadians would pronounce it, the French Canadian kind of way. So I do apologize.
That's all right. People get around all the time.
All right, so let's get into your music career here. How did you get started in music? And for those that have never heard you, what kind of genre and style are you?
Okay, I started in music when I was really young, but I actually started going and running with my music career when I was about in 7th grade, and I picked up the guitar. Ever since then, I've been in musicals, doing little shows, open mic nights, stuff like that, until I started putting videos on YouTube and gaining followers and subscribers and everything. And if you haven't heard my music yet, I'm a pop-ish, not really country, but I do lots of Taylor Swift covers and stuff like that on my YouTube.
Who is your favorite music? Who is your biggest influence musically then?
My biggest influence is definitely, I sound like such a geek, but definitely Taylor Swift. I have been a fan of her and admired her music for years now, and she definitely influences my songwriting style and how I sing, how I play guitar. She has shaped me as a musician.
What is it about her other than her musically? Is there something about her, I guess, then that you really admire about her? Maybe the way she carries herself as an individual, or just her on stage performance. Is there anything else about her that you just really admire?
All of the above. I did happen to see her in concert for her Speak Now tour up in near Boston in Foxborough, and she was just such a performer. She was amazing on stage. She's really good live too, and I definitely I admire her a lot because, in my opinion, she's one of the only celebrities who has not dropped their morals and has stayed down to earth. There have been no scandals about Taylor Swift. You don't really hear that unless they're rumors.
Or unless it's to do with Kanye West.
Yeah, unless it's to do with Kanye West.
But that's just because he's stupid.
Yes, Kanye West is very stupid.
All right, talk to me a bit about your writing style then. I know you do a lot of covers, but talk to me about your writing style and I guess where you draw your own influences.
My writing style is simple. I write a lot of love songs. I write a lot of songs that are emotional, simple songs with just guitar. I'm hoping to learn piano soon, so hopefully there'll be some piano songs coming up soon. But until then, just guitar. I like simple rhythms, but meaningful words, and I draw a lot of my lyrics from personal experience. Yeah.
Right on. If you're just joining us here on Radio Nation, we have Molly Frechette. That's right. I got it right there. Frechette. I apologize. I'm pretty bad with this one. But Frechette joining us live on the show. And there's a lot of traffic here on Radio Nation right now. So there's a lot of you listening in. So follow along on Twitter at @radio_nation. If you want to tweet us some questions for Molly, we can definitely cater to those people that are on the Twitter. So speaking of Twitter, Molly, let's talk about social media. You brought up YouTube there. And, how important for you has social media been? But not just, it's important for every artist, but how has it really motivated you to keep going as a musician?
Social media has definitely helped my career a lot. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everything social, it has definitely boosted my confidence, my career. I got lots of fans that way. YouTube posting videos has definitely gotten my music out there a lot. I entered the Teen Who competition, which I'm sure you hear a lot on here, and I came in third in one of the competitions, which was cool. I got to go down to Nashville and meet everyone. But definitely social media has helped me when I'm at that low point where I'm just like, should I even do this? Should I continue? Is it worth it? And then I see people saying wow, you can really get far with your music. And I say, yes, this is worth it. And this is what I want to do.
You just mentioned, you just brought up a great point there about Nashville. What was your experience like down in Nashville? What did you really take away from it?
Nashville is my favorite place. I'm sure that lots of viewers, if you know me personally, I talk about Nashville all the time. I have Nashville pictures on my wall. I have Nashville pictures in my locker. I loved it. The entire experience was amazing. Going down there and seeing everything was just so music related. like on the buildings, like I remember it would say rhythm, melody on the buildings while I was driving along. And in the airport, the carpets were shaped like a guitar, like little things that just showed you how music oriented the town actually was. Walking around and just downtown Nashville was amazing. Not to mention I got to meet a lot of my really close friends, like my other musical friend Tori Thrall. She's really good too. Not to advertise, but Tori Thrall Music on YouTube if you want to look her up.
Right on. We got some questions here on Twitter. We're going to ask one of them, and somebody asked, "What is your favorite animal?" So, and that is from Grant. I don't know where Grant's from, but I'm reading it on Twitter. So, what is your favorite animal, Molly?
My favorite animal. I don't really think about this often. I guess my favorite animal would be a panda. I really like pandas. I think they're really cute, even though I know that they're really vicious, but I love pandas.
All right, Molly, what is it about, I guess, talk to me about what the next step for you then is as a musician is. Where do you go from here?
Where do I go from here? Well, I'd like to start playing shows. I have been definitely slacking and updating my YouTube a lot and my Facebook. But I'm trying to put up more videos now. I'm trying to write more songs. Hopefully I'll come out with an EP soon. I just have to get into the studio and everything. When school slows down, definitely. And I'm in a musical right now, so once rehearsals slow down after the show, that's definitely gonna happen. And hopefully, I think I was talking to someone about label, but that is to be determined.
Is there a venue that you have dreamed of performing in? Is there a particular place, whether it's Madison Square Garden or wherever else?
Well, of course, Madison Square Garden. It would be completely insane to play. That would definitely be my dream stadium. But I think that it would be the Foxborough Stadium because Taylor Swift was my first concert, and I absolutely loved the entire, like, how everything was set up. And I think that definitely if I could play somewhere, it would be the Foxborough.
For those of you just joining in, we're joining live with Molly Frechette, and I kind of Frechette. Oh, I almost had it there. This is really bad. This is terrible. I feel really bad. But if you're just joining in live, actually, we got lots of listeners on the show right now. You can tweet us at radio_nation on Twitter, and we also have Instagram. We just got that, so that's kind of random and cool. But it's the same Twitter. It's the same handle as Twitter. Follow us along on Facebook, www.radionation.ca or facebook.com, /Facebook. Or /radionation.ca. Wow, I can't talk there. I'm surprised I'm doing this interview still. All right, Molly, where, I guess musically, besides where do you see yourself heading, which I just sort of touched on with you, and you just mentioned Gillette Stadium, which I'm still assuming that's still the name of this Patriot Stadium in Foxborough.
Yes.
What is it about being from Boston? Is it a challenge being a musician from Boston? Is it harder because you're north of New York and it's New York's sort of the big central place other than like Nashville and LA and is it a challenge being a musician from Boston?
Actually, I think that it's definitely probably easier being a musician from Boston because we're in such close proximity to New York and New York City. And if like the occasion occurred where I would have to go to New York City, I believe that it would be much easier to live in kind of this central place, as well as Boston itself definitely is like a big place for auditions and everything, and I've gone to many auditions in Boston, so I think living so close to a big city like that, especially like Boston, and as I said, New York City is definitely good. I like being close. I don't think it's a struggle. I think it definitely makes it easier, because if I lived maybe in like the Midwest or like the middle of the country somewhere, then I think it might be harder to promote my music more, but it's definitely easier around Boston.
Talk to me a bit about, we're here based in Canada, as you know, and maybe some of your listeners don't know that, but we're broadcasting here live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yes, the polar north for some of those people think that out there, but we're actually not that much further north than Boston, per se. But nevertheless, talk to me about what's it like growing up in Boston. Some of us see it a lot on movies. The last movie I saw was Ted, and yes, it is based in Boston. So talk to me about what's it like to grow up in Boston and be in the Bostonian atmosphere, if you want to say.
I think that growing up in Boston, or around Boston actually, because I'm actually in one of the suburbs, but growing up around Boston and being able to go into Boston is definitely amazing. Boston's an amazing city. It's absolutely beautiful in Boston, and it's gorgeous in the fall because there's in the winter you can go and you can ice skate off Frog Pond, and there's like Christmas lights everywhere and all the buildings are lit up, and then of course in autumn all the leaves are falling and the Northeast looks really beautiful in autumn and the winter. So I definitely love being from Boston. Also, Bostonians have a lot of pride for their city, and I'm among them. I love Boston, and I love all the Boston sports teams and everything. So prideful, even though I don't even watch the sports often. That's my best friend's job.
I was just going to ask you if you're a big Red Sox fan, because I know we're here in Toronto. We're not having a great season, but the Red Sox aren't having a good season either. So I was going to ask if what you thought about that.
I think the Red Sox definitely could do better, but of course we'll always stick with them. No fair weather fans for Boston. Yeah,
I know their attendance is still strong, even though their team isn't doing that well, unlike here in Toronto where attendance is probably dwindling and the team is just flat out awful this year. But that's another story. So let's get back to your music career here, Molly. When you mentioned earlier in the broadcast you want to get out and perform, did you mean that in a local sense, or do you just mean that overall? I mean, like, you want to get out and perform anywhere, or do you really just want to start locally and then branch out later on?
Anywhere, honestly. I love performing. I love writing songs and then performing them for audiences so that they can just hear my music and hear my style. And I also love covering songs. Like, one of my favorite songs right now to cover is The A-Team by Ed Sheeran. I love him. And I sing that a lot places, and I love being able to convey my emotions to the audience, and I hope that they feel the emotion that I put into my songs as well. Performing anywhere would be amazing. I love it.
Couple of questions here on Twitter here, and I'll actually ask them. Some of these are really funny, but do you have a cool nickname? That's it's coming from Leanne. I don't know where Leanne lives. Maybe she lives in doesn't really say where she lives, but she's asking, so do you have a cool nickname?
I don't have a cool nickname. Some people call me Moll, but when I was little, I used to hate that, but now I don't really mind so much. But no, I'm pretty much unoriginal. People just call me Molly.
What is your favorite Taylor Swift song? And that is from Christina.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I could pick a favorite Taylor Swift song. I love all of them so much. Oh gosh, if I had to pick one, maybe Haunted, Enchanted, Long Live, any of the ones off that. And of course, I'm really excited for the upcoming Red album. And I actually just covered a Taylor Swift song that came out today.
And which one was that?
Oh gosh. It just came out. What was it? I actually don't remember the name of the song.
Well, get back.
Oh, it was Begin Again. Begin Again.
Right. Sorry. Question here from Hannah in, I don't know where she's from, but it's on Twitter as well, and Boston. She's from Boston. So, question: do you like cats?
I do like cats. Yes.
Do you have a cat?
I don't. I have a bird, so that wouldn't really work out.
That's true. I mean, I have a puppy, and I also have a cat, and they don't get along that much. So,
well,
I don't think a bird and a cat would work either.
No.
All right,
that would be scary.
We're gonna do some more random questions here, including a couple from myself and some that we've asked our past guests, which is, what is your favorite Disney movie of all time?
My favorite Disney movie of all time has to be The Little Mermaid. Definitely. Hands down, The Little Mermaid.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food? Okay, I love seafood, and I'm a total junk food junkie, and I love hot fries, Handicaps hot fries. I eat them way too much, so that would be my favorite food.
Another question off Twitter: who is your favorite member of One Direction?
Can you have a favorite? I don't think that can happen. I think you have to love all of them equally. I'm not a big One Direction fan, but I think that I don't know if I could pick. I think Niall's definitely really cute, but that's a different story.
What is it about? And help me understand. And I know there's a lot of listeners out there that like One Direction, but me, and I might get a lot of hate mail for this, but I personally I'm not as interested in One Direction as perhaps maybe some of my listeners out there. And maybe this is because I'm a little older and I'm a male, but what is it about One Direction that attracts you to them, maybe other than their looks?
They are really talented. When I first heard about One Direction, I kind of dismissed them, but of course I did the same with Justin Bieber when he first came out, so I'm not really a good judge of that. But One Direction is definitely really talented, and I like some of their songs, like Moments, I believe it's called, is I think a really good song. I like their harmonies a lot because I'm a big fan of harmonizing. So I really like the harmonies. I just think that they're just fun people. Like, their personalities are all really different. And as I said, I don't really pay attention to One Direction, but my friends do. So I'm pretty up to date with them.
Here's another good question for you. You're on death row. As terrible as that may sound, and I realize Massachusetts doesn't actually have death penalty, but hypothetically say you were on death row and you had a last meal because you're about to be executed. What is your last meal?
Oh gosh. Well, I could be witty and say that it's something really hard to find so that I wouldn't be killed. But of course, if I'm just talking about my favorite foods, then, oh goodness. Definitely, probably some sort of spicy, like, wings or something, and then, I don't know, I'm not sure. Probably, honestly, lots of junk food. If it was my last meal, just probably purely junk food.
Would you ever do a cover of a Brantley Gilbert song? And that is, again, from Christina in Milton, Massachusetts.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Another question for you. What is one of your favorite childhood memories?
One of my favorite childhood memories. I think one of my favorite childhood memories would be going to the Science Museum with my family and sitting outside and watching the sunset. And I remember picking crab apples from the trees outside of the Science Museum. And I just remember always going into the Science Museum. They had different exhibits all the time, like butterflies, and then you'd go in there, there'd be just hundreds of butterflies around you, and that's one of my favorite childhood memories.
If you're just joining us live on Radio Nation, you're listening to Molly Frechette. Hopefully I got that right. Frechette. I'm gonna get it by the end of this interview, which is coming sadly to an end. But yes, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Molly Frechette here on Radio Nation. You can follow us along on Twitter at radio_nation. I hopefully got that right the last time there, because you've told me about 8 times now, and this sounds terrible.
You got it right.
Sounds terribly unprofessional from somebody who's actually calls himself a journalist. So if you're just joining us here on the broadcast, send a question to Molly. Tweet us at radio_nation. We got a couple more minutes here. We can take some more questions. You're a big cover musician, as you mentioned earlier. Is there somebody you haven't covered yet that you really want to?
I would really like to cover Kelly Clarkson, but I just don't know. I don't know how I would do it because I definitely cannot belt like Kelly Clarkson. She is fantastic, but I was thinking about covering Dark Side, but more slow and like acoustic, maybe like a piano cover if I can get one of my friends to play it for me, because I tried to play it on piano, but that really didn't work out. So definitely Kelly Clarkson would be someone that I would love to cover, but have not yet.
I'm going to do 2 more questions, and then we will call it a night here on Radio Nation. But one of my questions is, how do you balance being, a musician with school, and how do you do that?
School has been really rough for me up until this year. So up until this year, I definitely, it was an imbalance. At some points, I would be dropping my music for school, and most of the time, honestly, would be dropping my school for music. But this year, I'm getting some extra help with things. So I go to rehearsals, and I just I try and do everything equally. Like, if I come home and I do a cover, then I'll do my homework and I'll study after that, or vice versa. So I basically just try to even it out and keep my schoolwork and my music balanced.
I'm going to take 2 more questions off of Twitter here. Elise from, I'm not sure where she's from, but she's off Twitter anyway, and she asks you, what was your favorite Nashville memory? Which is similar to a question I asked you earlier, but you can tailor it. And she's from Wisconsin, right on.
My favorite Nashville memory would be meeting everyone, because it was actually a really cool experience, because me and a group of people had been, and Elise is actually, confession, Elise is one of my close friends, so she did this so that I would talk about her. I'm calling her out, but we had been close friends, all of us, in a group. We had like a group on Facebook, and we would talk every single day, and there were like 20 of us, and in February, a lot of us begged our parents or for ourselves, drove there somehow, and we all managed, well, not all of us, but most of us managed to go to this Teen Hoot concert. And so for the first time ever, we all got to meet each other. And as I said earlier, I met Elise, I believe, first. I walked into the lobby of my hotel, and, or I believe, yes, I met Elise first. I walked into the lobby, and Elise is actually really, really short. She's, I think, like 4'8", 4'9". I don't know how tall she is, but she's really short, so we have a video of me toppling over her when we first met. But definitely my favorite Nashville memory was meeting just all of my close friends now that I had. It was amazing, and I love all of them, and I miss them so much.
Final question for you tonight is this. If you could meet any celebrity or anybody in the entire world, whether they could be dead or alive, doesn't matter, can be music or non-music, who would it be and why?
The first person that pops into my head, as I already talked about her so much, but definitely Taylor Swift, because I have been a fan of her since I think 11, which has been 5 years now, I think. And she has honestly just influenced my life so much. Like, I live by her quote, and it's on my wall, life isn't how to survive the storm, it's about how to dance in the rain. Because I just, whenever I was down, and she got me through a lot of things, personally, that most people haven't been able to deal with, or haven't had to experience. And just, I listened to her in the darkest times of my life, and she always made it better. So if I could meet her, I don't know if I would be able to completely have myself composed, but that would be definitely the person that I would like to meet, and I would just like to tell her thank you for everything she has done for me in my life.
All right, well, Molly, we'd like to thank you for coming on to Radio Nation tonight. And if you already don't know, you're already up for one of our lovely awards here on Radio Nation, as our year-end awards are coming up. It's the first time we've ever done this, so it's a lot of fun, and I already emailed you. But for your fans listening out there, it is our year-end 2012 awards, and you are up for a American Musician of the Year award here on Radio Nation, as we have featured quite a bit of musicians from the United States. So you definitely want to tell all your fans and all your friends and all your family to come check out www.radionation.ca/awards2012.html, and it's all on the website on Radio Nation. You can spread the link around and definitely tell all your friends and family. Voting begins October 10th and will run all the way till December 10th, and the winner gets a nice little trophy from us here at Radio Nation, all expenses, and we will mail it if we need to.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for having me tonight, and definitely, I didn't know I was up for award. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, and again, thanks a lot for taking the time out of your night to join us here for here on Radio Nation, and all the best. And definitely, we will be playing one of your covers later on.